In the cold gleam of the streetlight, I found myself staring at the gift box in my hands, the chill of the evening seeping through my jacket. It was the eve of our 10th wedding anniversary, and Lara had handed me the box with a beaming smile just before she left for her supposedly urgent meeting at the office. "Open it at midnight, love. Think of it as the start of a new decade together," she had said, her kiss lingering a moment too long, as if to make up for the distance the night would put between us. Alone in the quiet of our living room, the clock hands teasingly close to 12, I tore into the wrapping. The box was elegant, unmistakably expensive, the kind of packaging that promised something grand. Inside lay a watch, sleek and modern, its face gleaming under the soft lights. Engraved on the back, in fine, looping script, were the words, "To my one and only." A warm rush of affection surged through me, quickly replaced by a creeping sense of déjà vu. I walked over to the mantel where our keepsakes lay displayed. There, among the photos and trinkets, was another watch box. I opened it. An identical watch, its band slightly worn, greeted me, the same inscription etched on its back. Confusion twisted into a tight knot in my gut. My mind raced as I turned both watches over in my hands, the engravings catching the light. 2 years ago, Christmas morning. The memory was clear as day. Lara, laughing as I opened the gift, her eyes bright with the thrill of the surprise. The room spun a little as I pieced it together. The second watch wasn't meant for me. Heart pounding, I grabbed my coat and keys. The streets were nearly empty as I drove to her office, the night unusually silent, the traffic lights blinking indifferently at my haste. Her office building loomed ahead, its windows dark except for a few. The reception was deserted. I took the elevator up, my reflection in the polished metal doors grim and determined. The hallway to her office was quiet. I pressed my ear against the door, nothing. A flick of my wrist, the watch catching the light as I tried the handle. It turned. The office was empty, her desk untouched, the computer off. A janitor, pushing his cart down the hall, paused when he saw me. "Looking for Mrs. Caldwell?" "She left an hour ago with Mr. Reynolds." Said something about a celebration. Reynolds. Her co-worker. The pieces fell into place with a chilling clarity. I drove home, the city passing by in a blur, a plan forming in the depths of my betrayed heart. Tonight marked the end of an era and the beginning of another. Lara's deception wouldn't go unanswered. My love would be her undoing. As the watch ticked away the seconds, I knew one thing for certain, this anniversary would be unforgettable. As dawn painted the sky in hues of orange and grey, I sat in my car, parked just across the street from our house. My mind buzzed with the fragments of last night's revelations, each piece a painful stab of betrayal. I watched the front door, waiting for Lara to return, the weight of the watch in my pocket a constant reminder of her deceit. The door finally opened on its back. Lara stepped out, her face drawn, eyes darting nervously around as if sensing the storm that was about to break. She froze when she saw me approaching. "Ethan? Why are you here so early?" Her voice wavered, the facade of innocence not quite reaching her eyes. I held up the watch, letting the morning light catch the engraving. "Interesting gift, Lara. Or should I say, gifts?" Her face paled, mouth opening and closing as she searched for an excuse. "I can explain." "Save it." "I know everything, Lara. The late nights, the sudden trips. And now, Reynolds?" I stepped closer, my voice low and menacing. "Who is he to you?" She recoiled, wrapping her arms around herself. "It's not what you think, Ethan." "Isn't it?" I scoffed, the hurt twisting into anger. "I saw the receipts, the messages. You've been lying to me for months." Lara's eyes filled with tears, her usual composure crumbling. "It was a mistake. I never meant to hurt you. It just happened." "A mistake?" I laughed bitterly. "You think cheating on me was a mistake?" "I'm sorry, Ethan. I don't know what else to say. I was going to end it. I just wanted to have your cake and eat it too." I interrupted, my patience snapping. Well, congratulations, Lara. Your little game ends today. She took a step forward, reaching out. Ethan, please. We can fix this. I love you. I stepped back, repulsed by the touch of the person I no longer recognized. No, Lara. There's nothing left to fix. I'm filing for divorce. And I'll make sure everyone knows what you've done. Your friends, your family, and your precious Mr. Reynolds. Her face crumpled, the reality of my words hitting her hard. You wouldn't, she whispered, a mix of disbelief and fear. Oh, I would. And I will. I turned on my heel and started walking back to my car. Behind me, Lara's sobs filled the air, but they did nothing to ease the cold fury burning inside me. As I drove away, the first light of the day creeping across the horizon, I felt a hollow victory settling in my chest. The battle lines were drawn, and I was ready for war. Lara's deception had shattered our life together, but I was determined to rebuild, starting with tearing down hers. The office was unusually quiet as I walked through the corridor, each step resolute and heavy with intent. My heart pounded against my chest, a drumbeat of fury and resolve. Today was the day I'd confront Reynolds, the other man in Lara's double life. As I reached his office door, I hesitated for a moment, collecting the storm of emotions into a calm facade. I knocked sharply. The door swung open, revealing Reynolds, his face a mask of surprise that quickly shifted to concern. Ethan? What brings you here? His voice was guarded, his posture tense. I stepped inside, closing the door behind me with a soft click that seemed to echo in the small space. We need to talk about Lara, I stated, my voice steady, belying the anger simmering beneath. Reynolds stiffened, his eyes narrowing slightly. What about her? He asked, trying to maintain a neutral tone. Don't play dumb, Reynolds. I know about the affair. I know everything. My words were like ice, and I watched as they hit him, his composure cracking. His face fell, and he sighed, running a hand through his hair. Look, Ethan, I'm sorry you found out this way. It wasn't right, and I regret. Save your apologies, I cut him off, my disdain clear. They mean nothing to me. What I want is for you to understand the consequences of your actions. Reynolds swallowed, his usual confidence dissipating. What are you going to do? There was a hint of fear in his voice. First, everyone will know what you two have done. I've already begun spreading the word. And I'm not just talking about our circle of friends, I mean your colleagues, your bosses. I leaned closer, my voice a menacing whisper. How do you think they'll react, knowing you've been involved with a married woman? Your professional reputation, your career, do you think they'll survive the scandal? He looked stricken, the full weight of the situation dawning on him. Ethan, please, think about this. We can sort something out. There's nothing to sort out, I interrupted. You and Lara made your choices without thinking of the consequences. Now, you'll both face them. I turned to leave, pausing at the door to add, oh, and Reynolds? If I were you, I'd start looking for another job. I doubt you'll have this one much longer. As I walked out, leaving Reynolds in stunned silence, a bitter satisfaction filled me. The pain of betrayal still throbbed deep within, but with each step of my plan, I reclaimed a piece of my dignity. Outside, the sky was overcast, clouds heavy with impending rain. It mirrored the storm that had erupted in my life, a storm I was now directing towards those who had wronged me. The path ahead was fraught with bitterness and hurt, but I was committed. No stone would be left unturned, no shadow would hide their deceit. The price of betrayal was steep, and I was determined to ensure Lara and Reynolds paid in full. The rain poured down as if nature itself sought to cleanse the city of its sins. I stood outside the cafe where I was to meet Lara for the last time, watching through the rain-streaked windows as she sat alone at a table, nervously twisting her wedding ring around her finger. I pushed the door open, the sound of the bell harsh in the somber atmosphere. She looked up, her eyes widening slightly, not with joy, but with dread. Ethan, she started, standing up as I approached, I wasn't sure you'd come. Let's skip the pleasantries, Lara, I said coldly, taking the seat opposite her. We both know why we're here. She swallowed, her hands clasping tightly in her lap. Ethan, I want to apologize for everything. I know it's too late, but... It is, I cut her off sharply. Your apologies mean nothing now. I'm here for one reason only. To end this. Her eyes filled with tears, but they sparked no sympathy in me. Ethan, please, I want to make this right. You can't make it right, I said flatly. But you're going to tell me everything. No more lies, Lara. It ends today. Over the next hour, Lara recounted everything, the lies, the deceit, the time she'd snuck away pretending it was for work. I listened, each word etching a deeper mark of finality on our marriage. When she finished, she looked up at me, a broken semblance of the woman I had married. What are you going to do? She asked, a tremble in her voice. I leaned forward, my eyes locking with hers. I've already done it, Lara. Your affair wasn't just with Reynolds. It was facilitated by your so-called friends, who covered for you, who lied for you. And now, they all know the truth about you. Lara gasped, her face turning pale. What do you mean? I sent them the proof, emails, messages, pictures. Everything. And not just to them, I continued, a grim satisfaction settling over me. Your family, your colleagues, Reynolds' wife. Everyone knows. She covered her mouth with her hand, her eyes wide with horror. You didn't, she whispered. Oh, but I did, I said, standing up. And there's nothing left for you here, Lara. You destroyed everything with your lies and your betrayal. Now, you can watch as your world crumbles around you, just as mine did. Lara was shaking, tears streaming down her face. Ethan, please. There's no mercy for what you did, I said, my voice cold as the rain outside. Goodbye, Lara. I hope he was worth it. I turned and walked out of the cafe, leaving her sobbing at the table. The cold air hit me with the force of liberation. As I walked away, the weight of the watch in my pocket felt heavier than ever, a reminder of the time lost to lies. But with each step, I felt lighter, free from the chains of betrayal, ready to rebuild my life from the ashes of the old. And behind me, in the cafe, the world of Lara Caldwell began to collapse, just as the storm overhead broke, washing the city streets clean.